Well, it's the second day of Asset Day here at the LCS studio with coverage brought to you by Alienware. I'm joined right now by Cody Sun and Meteos from 100 Thieves. Talk a little bit about how the season is starting for them so far. I mean, I guess you guys have just been getting into scrims recently, right?
Right. Well, we practiced in Denmark a few weeks ago for a couple weeks, and then we took another break, and now we're starting back up.
So I missed this. You guys were in Denmark?
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Well, we just were told we were going to Denmark for boot camp, and then we went.
I love pro players because I've just always asked, I'm like, why did this happen? You're like, somebody told us it was going to happen. You just go along with it.
Well, yeah, we're usually not the ones in charge of those kind of things.
I know.
So the people who are in charge tell us.
I just don't know if people ever give you guys any reasoning behind any of the things that are happening. Like,
oh, well, we were practicing with Origin. Like,
okay.
I know Papa Smithy and Deficio are close, and so we practiced in their facility and worked with them. Like, we would talk to their coach, and
yeah.
I don't know if we really talked to many of their players. Not much, but their coach was really cool.
So you just hung out with their coach and that was it? No players? Cody?
Oh, yeah. I think they usually stayed in their rooms. It was only their coach that was, like, interacting with us.
Okay, well,
Oh, and Destiny.
Oh, yeah, Destiny.
Gotcha.
Their support, because he was on a team with Tommy.
Okay. So there's a little bit of friendship stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How was that trip? Do you feel like that helped you out a lot? Because a lot of teams were boot camping in Korea or China.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I mean, all my boot camps have been in Korea for the most part, so that's kind of what I would expect for boot camp. But Papa Smithy wanted to do Denmark, and at first I was like kind of hesitant about it. It didn't make sense to me. Because when everyone was asking me, like, why are you guys in Denmark? I was like, that's a good question.
Yeah,
but,
that's the question I asked literally moments ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would just say good question. But then after the fact, I think it was a good idea. I thought it was really fun, and I think it was a good learning experience.
Yeah. Well, Cody, when did you guys get back into scrims in North America this year?
I think we got back like a week ago.
Okay.
And because I think of the hiatus that we had after boot camp, we're still kind of getting back into things. But I think I was pretty surprised by how well our team did in the EU boot camp. So I think we showed a lot of potential really early on, and after we get adjusted to like the NA playstyle, I think we'll do pretty well.
But were you guys doing any solo queue over there?
Yeah, we're still playing. Like, I think everyone was grinding really hard in EU solo queue, and obviously because of the ping and the players, it's like really good for mechanical practice. And yeah, I was pretty happy with like all my teammates. I think all of them like played really well in like skirmishes and stuff like that. So I'm pretty confident in just like taking fights right now.
So you're both returning to 100 Thieves after leaving 100 Thieves previously on maybe not the best terms. At least that's what the public perception was. I actually loved the video of you and Nadeshot. The who would have thought the video? I thought that was fantastic. I'm happy. But was there ever any hesitancy or weirdness around rejoining the team, or what really allowed you guys to feel comfortable coming back?
I'd say for me, it wasn't too weird because. Like for me, when I was traded off the team, it was never really any huge conflicts between like me and other players or stuff like that. It was just like, you know, someone else's decision. But I really like a lot of the, like most people in the org, and you know, it's cool playing with Someday and Cody again. So it wasn't really too weird for me.
Yeah. Does it kind of feel like a reunion at all? Of just because you're back with at least two of the other guys?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, there's definitely some familiar faces. A lot of the like content team and you know the owners and stuff, it feels like a reunion with them. But as far as the team, it's pretty different because we have like Tony as our head coach, like Papa Smithy's here now, so it's pretty fresh as far as like who's on the team. Yeah. But yeah, seeing familiar faces is nice.
How about you, Cody? What led you to return to the team?
Well, for me, it was. It might have been like a little awkward getting the offer at first, because I guess I was just really surprised. But afterwards, seeing like talking with Papa Smithy mostly, and seeing that like seeing like Will and Someday coming back, yeah, I guess it kind of felt right. Thinking that like you know, Someday and Meteos are both coming back, so. I could possibly come back too, and then it'll be like a 3-man reunion with like
different staff, obviously, and two new teammates in Stun and Ryoma. So, yeah, after talking a lot with Papa Smithy, I felt pretty assured that coming back to 100 Thieves was the right choice.
Yeah. How are things going with Ryoma? Because it's kind of interesting. Before we even saw him play, it feels like a lot of the online community was perhaps like anti-Ryoma, like who's this guy, whatever. So maybe you guys can give me a little bit of insight into who he is as a player and what fans should expect of him.
Tommy's been really cool. I didn't know much about him before he joined the team. I think it was really a prospect that like Papa Smithy had scouted and someone that he had a lot of faith in. And so like we just duo queued a few games before the Denmark boot camp, and I just found him to be a really chill player to play with. He's really good mechanically. He's just a bit inexperienced as far as like some of the teamwork parts of the game, but he's very open-minded and motivated. Like works really hard, and he's just super fun to play with and be around. So it was definitely not someone that I thought I'd be playing with this year, but it's someone that I'm like really glad to be on the team with.
Maybe a question for either of you: How different do you guys think this team will be from the team that it was a couple years ago when you were on it? Because obviously a lot of things are similar, a lot of things are different.
I think back then, all the teams and players played really differently, just because I think everyone got a lot better over the last 2 years in terms of macro as well as individual matchups and stuff like that. So I think if we were to do really well this time, it wouldn't be because we're playing really defensive or how we're playing really slowly, where before most of the games that we did really well in was because we kind of just took the game really slowly and scaled to the late game parts. And I think now we have really good pieces to play really aggressively and confidently to win the game that way.
One of the questions I've been asking everybody about it is that it feels like a lot of people have just been saying, okay, well, same old three teams are going to be at the top: C9, TS, MTL. Do you guys think that there's any merit to that statement? What do you expect?
It's pretty hard to say. I think TL being near the top is a safe bet because it's 4 of the same players returning. They've won the past 4 splits. I'm not 100% sure Broxah is an upgrade over Xmithie because in my mind Xmithie is just such a solid player, and he's been part of winning teams for such a long time. I think he's someone who just kind of keeps his head down and works hard. But
what about Pobelter? Is Pobelter an upgrade over Xmithie?
Yeah, maybe. No way to know for sure. But I think with C9 losing Sneaky is probably going to hurt them more than it seems because, again, I always feel like the best teams are kind of defined by, the players that, not the ones necessarily in the spotlight. The players like Sneaky, Impact, Xmithie, who just do a lot to help their team. They work with low resources. They make the best out of bad situations rather than the players that's wanting all the resources, always wants to look good. If they're going to be at a disadvantage, they pull one of their teammates to take the hit for them so they can stabilize. So I think sometimes losing those pieces of your team that really enable everyone else can hurt them. So I think it's going to be really hard to say which teams will be at the top.
Okay. Cody, you have any similar feelings or?
Yeah, me personally, I'd have a lot of respect for Xmithie being on a team with him. I think he was probably the most important part of Immortals when we made it to finals that year, and usually he doesn't say too much about himself or his play, and usually he just tries really hard to do his thing and help the team in whichever way possible. And yeah, I think he was pretty underrated for TL, and I think losing him, it's gonna be it's definitely gonna be a change for them. So it's hard to say whether that change is always gonna be good or bad. So, and Sneaky, yeah, I personally have a lot of respect for Sneaky because I played against him for pretty much my whole time as an LCS player, and I talked to him on occasion too, and I think a lot of people forget that he's actually probably the most innovative like AD carry. He was like the first one to play Jhin when it was released, and like he even played Quinn when nobody was playing him. And when when I was just starting, usually I always like tracked his champion pool to see like what new AD carry you can play. So I think there's still a chance that he's gonna come back to C9, and yeah. So I do think that losing Sneaky is like something that they're gonna have to figure out and get used to.
You mentioned Immortals, and I'm kind of curious. Do you have any opinion on them returning? Because obviously there's a lot of the people that were over there are now gone, so I don't know if it impacts you or you feel like you want to beat them, or I don't know.
For Immortals returning, I think it's like really cool, obviously, that Xmithie won back there. Every other player on the team is pretty new, so I don't really know how well they're gonna do. But I think Xmithie is probably solid enough to make the team have a solid foundation to work upon. So.
For you though, like the brand coming back, the team, do you feel like you want to beat them, or are you excited to have them back? I don't know if like the name means anything to you anymore now that there's like none of the staff are the same or whatever.
Yeah, all of their staff changed, but I always like beating my ex team, so it's gonna be fun if I could beat them, obviously.
Well, also we're seeing the schedule change so that Monday night games are now a thing. Do you guys have any opinion on that? Is that, as players, is that something that impacts you?
It's a little weird for me, just because like the LCS schedule is already a little strange as far as like right now. If we're playing LCS 3 days a week, and then like if we take a day off, then you'd only be scrimming 3 days a week as well, which isn't that much. So I don't know if it's just teams aren't going to take a day off or how that's going to work. But as far as scheduling goes, the extra days probably not something I would push for personally.
And then the other question is the format change around Spring Split no longer having championship points. Now there's like a double elimination thing that happens in finals. Do you guys have, or playoffs, do you guys have any opinions on that change?
I really like the double elimination being added because I think is it for spring playoffs as well?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think for like playoffs, I really like double elimination because I think it just gives the teams another chance to like prove themselves, to have a chance at the title, and it's definitely gonna make it so like, you know, if a player on a team had a bad day, at least he's gonna have another chance to like showcase his skill. So I really like that. But the points thing to make spring like not as important is kind of weird to me, because for me personally, I still think spring is really important as well, and like going to MSI is still pretty cool, and it's something that I haven't done yet. So I definitely still want to like win spring split. But for like maybe for players that already attended MSI or something like that, it would be like a little demotivating for them.
Was there anything either of you want to say to any of the fans out there ahead of the start of the season?
Well, to the fans, like 100 Thieves fans, I guess, it's good to be back. I hope you guys are happy that we're coming back to the team, and I hope you continue to support us, and I think the split will be good.
Cody?
Who would have thought?
Thank you guys so much for the interview. Really appreciate it. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much to Alienware for sponsoring that interview just now. Really appreciate them. Movement as well. Alienware's got a bunch of cool stuff. They showed some really cool things over at CES. You can go check out their site and the link below. That actually helps me out a ton whenever you do that. Alienware.com/Travis. And by the way, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 200K subscribers this year. It's really helpful. 200K in 2020 would be fantastic. And we've got a ton of LCS coverage coming, so that really helps us out. Either way, thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll catch you next time.